Hello, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be replacing the front struts and front bearings on a 2004 Toyota Sienna. This time I actually purchased quick struts, and so it'll be my first time of replacing the complete assembly. So the concept sounds good, and I did a little bit of research online. There's a lot of cautions out there about purchasing the quick struts, so I did my best to research which manufacturers would have the best quality struts, and I kind of researched a little bit to make sure that they met the OEM specifications and so forth. So I'm gonna give it a shot. I'm gonna put these quick struts in, and it shouldn't take me that long. But I'm gonna keep my old struts assemblies in my garage, and if for some reason that I feel that the quick struts wasn't the way to go, then I can easily rebuild the original struts assemblies, keeping the original springs but just replacing the wearable items. But that would be a separate video if that were the case. Regardless, let's get started. So here they are. I purchased the quick struts from Rock Auto. I've purchased from them before, can't complain. I purchased from other online companies as well. Haven't really had any bad experiences with one exception, but that was probably a shipping issue. So I landed on the KYB assemblies. I didn't do hours and hours and hours of research, but I did enough research to decide that these were what I was going to choose. When they packaged them, they didn't tell me which ones were right or left. However, there is a stamping on the assemblies with an R and an L, which I assume means right and left. But regardless, the way they fit in there is like this, and there's a distinct bracket layout. So I'll just make sure that I put the proper assembly in on the proper side when it comes time to replacing these. So the strut assembly sits in here behind the wheel, straight up and down. The bottom part, when we remove these wheels, you'll be able to see it's easy to get to. Top part is right up here underneath this plastic intake for our AC system, but I need to take the windshield wiper blade assemblies off to get this piece off. So we will just take this cap off here. Make sure you don't. So I'm using a 3/8 inch drive ratchet with a 3-inch extension and a 14 millimeter socket to remove that nut. Pretty easy to remove. Didn't take much. Fortunately, I live in a part of the country where there's not much corrosion. Thank goodness. Now, the question is, how quickly can I get these popped off? And oh, look at that. Pretty darn easy. Wow, one-handed. If you look underneath this, it's actually a two-piece. It's like a cover on top of, yeah, you know what I'm talking about. Anyways, looks like there's little release latches. So pull up and release each latch as you go along. That way you don't break it, because I'm sure this is not cheap if you have to replace it. So just be real careful when you're lifting it up, and walk it along as you're taking it off to prevent from breaking the tabs. So with the tabs released, I just kind of pulled up and I released these rubber seals on each corner just to pop out of place. And I started pulling from this side, and it seems like it's, if you pull straight, it seems like it's coming off, and I didn't damage anything, so that's good. Okay, so as you can see, here's the passenger side top of the strut, pretty easy to get to. Since I've got the shroud off, I'm gonna go ahead and get a shop vac out here and suck up all these acorns and leaves and stuff. On this side, it's a little bit covered up, so what I'm gonna have to do is remove this wiper motor assembly, which seems to be pretty self-explanatory. It looks like it'll come out of here as an assembly, and we'll do that here in a second. 10 millimeter socket. Okay, as expected, 4 screws using a 10 millimeter socket. Complete assembly came out of there. Make sure you disconnect your connectors. I disconnected that, I don't know why, just because. I'm gonna get a shop vac in here and vacuum up all these leaves and acorns. Okay, so I think I have it to where I need it. I'm gonna go ahead and jack up the car. Okay, so I have my vehicle jacked up on both sides on jack stands. I have my back wheels blocked, parking brake set, and I've removed both wheels. So before I get started, I was just kind of doing a little inspection in here just to make sure nothing caught my eye. I am a bit disappointed though. I have been buying my parts online, and in some cases I buy the most economical solution. And about 15,000 miles ago, I did do my lower control arms. I have a video on it and everything. It's kind of a rinky-dink video, but looking at the bushings and the lower control arms, see if I can get that shadow. Already starting to see cracking, and I don't like that. So when I do this job again for the lower control arms and all the linkages, I'm gonna make sure that I do my research a little bit better. Also, my axles have been replaced in this vehicle, which I did myself. Didn't take videos, but I would say about 20,000 miles ago, maybe 25. But you can see right there, the boots are already starting to crack. That disappoints me greatly. So, yeah, something to watch out for. Do a little bit of research, a little bit more than what I've done. As far as functioning and noise and control and everything, these parts have done well. But it's these rubber components. I guess there's a quality standard on these rubber components, but they're just dry rotting. And I live in a pretty moist part of the United States, so I can't believe that these things are dry rotting out so quickly. Anyways, to continue on, here is the strut assembly. 12 millimeter socket for this one. Take the screw out. Remove your brake line, pull it off to the side, your speed sensor, pull it off to the side, and then there's a clip. This clip right here. Pull it off. The extra clip's right here. Just pull it off to the side. Alright, so I got my Allen wrench in place to hold the ball from spinning. Wrench in place. In this case, it's an 18 millimeter wrench because of the linkages that I replaced previously had a 18 millimeter nut. I think the original was 17 millimeters, but make sure you use the right wrench and take this. Yeah, so make sure you use the right wrench and the right Allen wrench. You don't want to strip these out, and just unscrew it. In your case, you might live in a corrosive part of the United States, so you may need to spray this down with penetrant lubricant for 15 or 20 minutes before trying to loosen this. Don't strip it out, you're just going to cause yourself problems. But yeah, get this top sway bar link off, and I'll be right back. Okay, so I ended up using penetrant lubricant tube just because it felt a little bit tight, and I just was wanting to work smarter, not harder. So top sway bar link is off. So for the lower bolts, it appears as if 22 millimeters is the magic number for both sides. So I'm going to use a 1/2 inch drive, socket on one end, and I'm going to use a open and closed end wrench on the back side. I'll start with just the 22mm wrench on the front side, and I'm using a little technique to give me a little bit more leverage. And I got lucky again. Another reason why I moved to the south. Well, not the reason why I moved to the south, but another reason why I stay in the south is because of no corrosion. Well, there's corrosion, but not like you guys have up north. Alright, let me get these on. Alright, I got both of them loosened up, and I'm just going to finish it off with my 1/2-inch drive ratchet. Just be careful with your speed sensors. Alright, they're hand loose. Got sunshine on my shoulder. There's a song about that. John Denver. I could start singing it if you want me to, but I want the views to increase on my videos and not decrease. So I'm gonna, you saw me do something I shouldn't do, so I'm gonna keep the nut on there. All right, with the nut on the end there, you just give it a little, oops, be careful with your brakes. Give it a little love tap. Same with the bottom one here. Just be careful of your wires on your brake line. Give it a love tap. And take it off. And then we can take these off. So I grabbed the bottom side of the assembly here and just kind of pulled it up and down as I pulled those bolts out, and just kind of let it drop. And there we go. Just the lower control arms holding it. And this is off. So now I'm going to take the top and make sure these are not strained at all, which they're not. So we're back up on top. These three 14mm socket. In this case, I'm going to use a 6-inch extension. Be careful of the glass back here. You don't want to crack the glass. My windshield's already cracked, so I'm just procrastinating on getting it replaced. But 6-inch extension, 14mm socket. Okay, I'm going to hold the strut assembly underneath here with my right hand while I finish loosening up this last nut on top. Just like that. So everything for the most part looks equal to what I removed. One exception would be obviously the strut design. This was supposed to be a good strut. I heard some reviews on it, so we'll see. The spring, the way the spring is turned, is slightly different, giving me a different angle to here. The bolts are lined up in the same spot. We got some distinct arrows in the front here, and I was reading, hold on, let me read this. Vehicle height may be higher directly following installation. Allow spring to settle. Okay, good to know. Good to know. This end up, good to know. I don't think I could have fitted it up any different way. But anyways, just visually looking at the top, it appeared as if this one had more of an angle this way than this one does. But I think it's the way the spring is turned. If you look straight down on it and you kind of look at how this bearing is angled, they appear to be the same. So I'm not going to be too concerned about that. I did pull out the instructions just because I was wanting to make sure that there weren't any silly special instructions. So pretty much everything to remove it and to replace it. in the reverse order. There's no special instructions. On the back they did give me a torque specification sheet, which is great. So when I'm done, I'll torque it to the proper specs. On this one we have a 4178, and this one's we got a 4177. So 4177. So we're looking at 59 foot-pounds for the top mount nuts, and then 155 foot-pounds for the knuckle nuts. And it also gives you the torque spec for the tie rod end too. So there is a nice little warning on here reminding you to do not take that nut off. This is spring loaded and you can get hurt. Like I said in the beginning of the video, I'm gonna keep my old strut assembly and I'm gonna keep it in my garage, just in case there's something about these struts that I don't like, to where I need to go back with my original. And if that is the case, I will just replace the strut and the upper bearing components and keep the original spring. Okay, before I get this up in here, there's some rubber protectors on here, so I need to take these off of the threads. Don't damage the threads. All right, time to put the new one in. So it came with new hardware, and of course it's not the same socket. That's okay. So I got the rubber protective boot off of the threads. All right, got it started. Okay, let's take a peek at it. So I have these started. They're not torqued down yet, but they're finger snug. New strut inside. Appears to be in the right position. And I'll go ahead and connect everything back up. All right, just a little bit of manhandling, you know, pulling this up. You have to kind of get right up underneath it and use both hands. Pull this up, push on this with the other hand, get it in position, get one of them started and just push it right on in. So not too bad. Okay, sway bar link on. I'm putting the nuts on for the lower strut. Okay, so I have my torque wrench, and I have it set. Oops. So I have it set to 155 foot-pounds. About torque wrench is set to 155 foot-pounds. Let me sit down here. Getting there. Might have to use two hands here. 1 second. Yeah, I had to use two hands. Sorry, but I think you heard the click. All right, both have been torqued down to 155 foot-pounds. So for the top ones, I have my torque wrench set to 59 foot-pounds. And I have them all snugged down already, but now I'm just torquing them down. You can hear that. That's 59 foot-pounds. Oopsie. Okay, left driver's side strut is done. I'm installing the wiper assembly right now. Okay, so the wiper assembly is installed. I'm just simply gonna plug it back in. I'll plug my window heater, wiper blade heater wires back in. I went ahead and sprayed some Windex in here, cleaned it up a little bit in here. And I'm going to finish up this job by doing the passenger side. It's the same process as on the driver's side. So I hope you like my video, and I hope you like the other videos on my channel. If you like my video, please press like, and if you and also subscribe if you like to watch other videos that I post. Thank you.